Hello, my name is Jacob Heckerman, and this is Effective Writing in the Workplace. So the benefits of effective writing can be seen as follows. Increased credibility, demonstration of intelligence, exemplification of professionalism. It can show clear and concise communication skills. It can convey verbal and intellectual productivity levels. It can demonstrate accountability to deliver quality work, and it can strengthen professional standing and integrity. So within professional writing, you need to have a certain skill set of rhetoric and rhetorical analysis. So rhetoric is the study of how writers and speakers use words to persuade, convince, and influence an audience. And rhetorical analysis is an essay or a piece of work that breaks down the rhetoric of a work and explains how the work is rhetorical through a series of paragraphs. So the principles of professional writing, there's really three main concepts of it. The first one is being clear. This essentially means that you need to have information that's easy to understand and is suited to the desired audience. It needs to be concise, so the information is straight to the point with little confusion of what it pertains to in the case of the topic. And it needs to be invisible. It needs to be as transparent as possible, no hidden meaning. This can be done by avoiding fancy language, incorporating parenthetical definitions for technical jargon, and the most important is just don't use workplace writing as a means for conveying personal expression. The basic writing process is as follows. You start with pre-writing. This is the process of thinking, brainstorming, and creating an outline of a paper. The next step is drafting. This is usually your first draft. You go in and you create a comprehensive draft that's meant to be changed and molded into the final draft. The first draft, I say that because there might be multiple drafts. You can usually have 1 to 3, maybe even 4 sometimes. Usually on the first draft, you go through and revise it by rereading the paper to create a more coherent and fluid piece of writing. You can also, this is kind of the part where you change large portions of the writing to strengthen and smooth out the tone, meaning and like information and the main ideas of the paper. Just kind of like reorganizing and like making sure that it flows and it's got tone and that kind of thing. And then usually in your second draft is when you focus on editing, which is usually rereading the paper once again to look for grammatical, spelling, and mechanical errors. This is really the step that transfers your paper from just a regular essay to like a professional piece of work, just minimizing mistakes and making it as fluid for the reader to like kind of digest and go through as possible. To build an effective paragraph, the 4 main steps are usually to make the paragraph about one singular idea, trying not to like drive off on tangents, that kind of thing. The second is to state the idea in the initial sentence, just to give like foreshadow and context of what the paragraph's going to be about and how you're going to build on it. Third is obviously you're going to build upon the main idea with each statement added. So it's usually starting with an initial idea and then working your way down, kind of building upon it and giving the idea integrity and giving it evidence to your claim. And then the third is align grammatical subjects, which I'll go into later, but this whole process is essentially all to present the audience with a logical point or portion of an argument or idea that will further and strengthen your primary statement. So aligning grammatical subject strategies. This main strategies really consist of keeping the subject consistent by minimizing tangents and loosely connected evidence. Another way is to chain together sentences as best you can by constructing a paragraph in a way where sentences build on each other. And then the third, which is a little tricky, but if you allow for foreshadowing within your writing, this can really help maintain interest and natural flow of writing and kind of make the audience grab onto your paper a little better. This is all essentially just to keep your paragraph consistent with what you're trying to convey to the audience, and really like to continue and strengthen your critical idea in a logical and clear order. In order to compel an audience, you usually need to keep the audience's attention all the way through the writing. Kind of an obvious statement, but harder and like easier said than done. Building and like it really helps to build and like guide the audience through your ideas with the paper. That can come with organization, construction of the paper, and just how you align and organize your points. And then you can build curiosity and interest throughout the paper. Also easier said than done, but a good writer can really like get a handle for that and kind of make it natural as the paper goes. I have some personal essential writing tips I'd like to share. Usually my like top rule is to be timely. You just don't want to write on the papers. You always want to have as much time as you can to read them and write them and edit, revise. The whole basic planning process essentially is just like, it's super important to take it easy, like take your time with it, and then make sure you have a lot of time to go back and revise if you need to. The next is to stay organized. This is kind of always to like, it just keeps things cleaner, and it just keeps the paper a little bit more like on a straight line as opposed to going off on tangents, as I previously mentioned. But third is usually to like keep a consistent tone and stay in the same tense. This is a little harder. It depends on the assignment or the type of paper that you write, but usually a professional tone and tense isn't in the first person. You're not gonna say like I, and you're not gonna say like you, and you're not gonna really include anecdotal evidence. It's mostly gonna be factual and peer reviewed, that kind of thing. The fourth is to keep the paper tidy from the beginning. You can do this just by setting up the format beforehand, whatever format either the assignment's supposed to be in, like MLA, IPA, that kind of thing. Easiest if you just set it up beforehand. Usually professional writing, they can make templates on Word, but if you just keep the writing and the format all the way through the piece as much as you can by setting it up from the beginning, you're set, and it just makes it easier to kind of keep it tidy as you write it instead of having to go back and fix up a broken paper with a solid message. The fifth is to revise and edit. In my opinion, it's just easier if you just take your time. Taking your time rereading, making sure that you sound out like sentences that might not flow too well. You can always change them. And I know it's been previously mentioned, but it really is an incredible portion of the writing. So that being said, that is the end. And thank you very much.